Andrew Wagner's with Newsbtc. Thanks very much for giving us your views on the market today. What do you make of the digital Bitcoin slash ICO revolution?
Well, obviously I think it's the future, but this is the industry I've always been in since I started
How long
having
have
a
you
career.
been in it?
I got into Bitcoin around $1 or $2. I guess that was around 2013. I didn't really have much money to invest back then, but all my friends are filthy rich.
Right. Okay, so you trade in Bitcoin as well?
I buy and sell lots of altcoins.
Right.
You might be familiar, there's thousands of them now, all with their own niches and purposes. I tend to do trading between them a lot of the time.
Is there kind of a relationship between these different coins? Like Bitcoin will go up and the altcoins will go up, or not really?
Sometimes there is. Sometimes the other coins going up will cause Bitcoin to go up because Bitcoin is typically what you buy altcoins with. You need Bitcoin to enter the cryptocurrency market. So it's...
It's like almost like the US dollar and the fiat currency.
Yes.
The Bitcoin is the base currency.
Correct. So if the entire ecosystem is going up, Bitcoin goes up because people need Bitcoin to get on the exchange and buy new cryptocurrencies. So yeah, what you described is pretty accurate.
Okay, and what risk do you think is the biggest risk of investing? Because a lot of people say I won't touch that because of the risk. Is it the vol? Is it the idea that it'll be hacked? Is it that some of the exchanges might go under, or is it all of the above?
I think they're very similar to the risks you see in traditional finance. I've been flabbergasted because I see people not applying very simple and basic investment protection strategies that they would have applied to stock or traditional investing, but when it becomes an ICO, they think it's free money and become irresponsible.
Right.
There's been a lot of actors preying on those people because they're just not being smart with their money right now.
So there seems to be a lot of fraud around at the moment.
Yeah, and it's, the problem is the investor mentality at this point. They've started to believe that ICOs are free money and that they'll win on every one. So investors have stopped thinking rationally in the ICO space. I mean, I haven't lost on any, but I pick mine carefully. And I curate Newsbtc's clients a lot of the time to try and find good ICOs.
So you're, how long have you been in this?
In crypto in general?
Yeah.
About 4 years.
Right.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years, something like that. It's pretty much all I've been doing. Well, I'm 28 now.
Right.
And
you're from Vancouver, right?
I'm from DC originally.
Oh.
But I'm dual citizen, so I'm whatever's convenient.
Well, when you say DC, do you mean Washington, DC?
Yeah.
All right. Which part?
Oh, actually south. I lived in Arlington.
Oh, okay. My dad lives in Falls Church.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my parents are government workers, if you can believe that. But I think a lot of Bitcoiners actually do have some government background. It's kind of like when you see how it works, you start to dislike it more, or maybe more simply, I think people just complain about their boss. No one likes their boss, and if your boss is the government, that's just what you internalize as your mentality.
Right. And do you see it growing to the point where it's as big as some of the fiat currencies in terms of many different alt types and,
Well, it actually already is. Bitcoin has surpassed almost the majority of currencies in the world already.
Right.
There's not that many left. I mean, there's still the dollars ahead of it, obviously. But in general, that's kind of already happening.
Right. And what do you think of the CME announcement that they'll be offering Bitcoin futures?
I think it's good. That doesn't impact me because I have enough of my own non-traditional methods of acquiring Bitcoins from friends, OTC type stuff. But I can see how it's going to be very valuable for institutional investors who have too much money to be doing trades in a back alley with. They have to have very particular pathways if they have millions of dollars.
And it allows them, perhaps, I'm not sure the nature of the contract, but to trade on the price without actually having to assume the physical, right?
Yes. Personally, I'm not sure I see the value of that, but I mean, a Bitcoin isn't that complex at the end of the day. If you put it on your wallet, it's not that hard.
But it takes a few minutes to transact, right? To process?
Not necessarily. Bitcoin works on a confirmation method. So It depends on the size of your transaction. So Bitcoin has what's called, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with blockchain tech at its base. The blockchain is made up of a series of what are called blocks. Each block containing all of the transactions that occurred on the network in that time period, which is approximately 10 minutes. I lost my train of thought. What'd you ask again?
Yeah, just about the time delay,
Right. So
factor.
that means, so a block comes every 10 minutes. That means you have to wait. A confirmation happens when a block is processed. So one confirmation comes in 10 minutes. And then when another block is mined on top of that block, that's the second confirmation.
Right.
So if you have no confirmations, it's possible that I could 51% attack you, which means that I could get a lot of miners together and manipulate the transaction history in such a way that I could defraud you. That's called a 51% attack. But launching a 51% attack is very expensive. It would, at current mining power rates, it would cost millions of dollars, billions actually, to launch a 51% attack.
In Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But in another currency, much less.
The smaller it is, the cheaper it is, and easier to attack. Bitcoin is probably not going to be hacked anytime soon. It's so expensive to do that to Bitcoin.
But with the advent of the futures, you could just trade on the price within a second, right? And
yeah. But, again, I think the value there is particularly for high-volume traders who, because these Bitcoin exchanges that people like me use, I don't have millions of dollars. I think if someone had enough money, they would find the exchange I use cumbersome with the delay.
And which exchange do you use?
Well, I'm Canadian. I stick on Quadriga CX. My friends run that.
Which one?
Quadriga CX.
Quadriga.
That's the biggest exchange in Canada. Some of my buddies work there. But yeah, I think if you have millions or billions of dollars, it could be really hard to get your money on one of our exchanges like that. Yeah, it'd be very cumbersome.
Cool.
But yeah, it's these confirmations. So with each confirmation, it becomes exponentially more difficult to launch a 51% attack. So if you're buying coffee, you don't have to wait for confirmation. It's an instantaneous transaction because no one's going to spend $1 billion to defraud you out of a coffee payment. Okay, but if you're selling a house, you may want to wait for. The recommended standard is 6 confirmations.
Right. And how many altcoins would you say are now out there and being launched per month, that kind of thing?
Per month, or are there in total?
Both.
Per month, we're probably up to dozens.
Right.
In total, there's now thousands, but most of them dwindle and die quickly. There's a lot of opportunists preying on our industry right now.
So people launch a thing, just take the fiat cash and they run.
Disappear, yeah.
And whoever's invested is just left having lost their money on a speculative venture.
Yeah. What I would recommend to people if you're looking into ICOs is, because I've vet a lot of them. One of our recent ICO clients made us like 500 grand. It was pretty good, the Autonio ICO. And the way, half the time I don't even have to read the white paper to detect if this is a good ICO. And the methods we use are really quite analogous to what you would use in vetting a traditional stock that you're considering.
Right.
I talk to the person, and I look for intellectual honesty when he's talking to me.
Right.
The Autonio guy, founder, it wasn't so much a pitch as it was a conversation. He said, I'm building a decentralized artificial intelligence. I said, you can't do that. That doesn't scale. He said, yeah, I can. This is my plan. And we just kept talking about it.
Right.
If someone throws at me in their face, I have 10 years of blah, blah, blah experience, lots of words.
Yeah, come at you strong, yeah.
I immediately become distrustful. Or if someone uses complex terminology or a simpler synonym would have sufficed, I become skeptical because I assume they're trying to confuse me and impress me unduly. I want someone who's trying to give me his idea as efficiently and concisely and effectively as possible. And the thing about this is not necessarily the best advice to the people launching ICOs. I'm giving this advice to the people investing in ICOs.
Right.
Because the method I'm describing, our client didn't raise more than $1 million. But that's why investors made so much bank, right? Because as an investor, you're not supposed to get in on the opportunity everyone got in on. You're supposed to find the hidden opportunity that everyone else hasn't found yet. Every ICO that's raised over $50 million has crashed. All the winning ICOs have raised smaller amounts of money, because who will invest when the ICO is over if everyone is bought in at ICO time?
Yeah, so there has to be an opportunity window there for the continuum of the currency.
They have to be reasonable, not greedy.
Right.
And this is all analogous. You can apply this method that I'm talking about with skills you would have in traditional stock investing.
Right.
It's just people are not being responsible, I feel.
Yeah.
They assume it's free money and they're just going to throw their life
Blinded.
savings at it. That's their fault, in my opinion.
Okay. So Andrew, how does one contact you?
Oh, there's a lot of ways. I have a lot of projects. You could get me at just do my Gmail, ajwagner@gmail.com.
Okay, cool.
I answer that one. But yeah, we do all kinds of cool blockchain projects. A lot of non-profit stuff where I promote and talk about the revolution and try to indoctrinate you all. Am I doing a good job?
You're doing a brilliant job. Thank you very,
sweet.
very much, Andrew.
Oh, good.
You're
Thanks.
brilliant. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.